Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the Intelligence Racing League Sprint Championship Division 2. Tonight you join us at Silverstone here in Great Britain for, yes, round 4, as I said just a second ago, of this 7-round championship. We're past halfway through this season. We haven't got too long to go, and we should be in for a fantastic race. Now, I notice at this point in time as well, we are not the only people having a race. Of course, there's the virtual 24 Hours of Le Mans going on right now. I know which one you guys would rather watch, but we should be readying up in just a moment's time. Yet here we go, and we can get straight into the qualifying session. Now, Silverstone is one of the best tracks in F1, in my opinion. Of course, it is just very famous. The track was initially run through the taxiways and that of the airbase. It was a Wellington bomber station during the Second World War, which was then converted into a racetrack, and it's been involved in most years of most Formula 1 World Championships. And we're going to be coming back to this historic track this evening. I think it was first introduced around 1950, because of course the first F1 Championship was in 1950. But yeah, we should be in for a good race anyway. Silverstone always up for a good one, and of course we have 20 drivers, so a full grid this evening, or this afternoon rather, which should just add to the stakes and add some extra racing in there, and it just should be quite entertaining. So do let me know your qualifying predictions, and after that your race predictions. I don't know if we're going to get hit by rain or not. It is Great Britain. There's always a chance. We'll just have to wait and see once we load into the lobby. Other than that, though, we just wait here and see what kind of lap times the drivers can get. So I think it's going to be around a 1:26. I think that's going to be the pole position lap time, around that, maybe 1:26.1, unless I'm very wrong, which is always possible. However, it looks like it's going to be dry for now. That could all change though, so we'll just get the tyres up on that left-hand side. We've got all our other stuff up. Currently, it is looking dry. That could turn wet, though, during the race, so we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. However, we're just going to wait for the first driver to leave the pit lane now. Quite a weird pit lane here. Bit of a drop. It's slightly raised above the main straight. But yeah, we'll just wait for the other drivers to leave their pit lanes. And I'm not sure. That looks like a racing point, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. Well, we've got a Mercedes here. I'm just looking out to the front. No, I think that might be the other Renault, actually. It looks like one Xavier is going to be leading us out, so we'll ride on board with him. Unfortunately, Otapa has left the session. But hopefully he can rejoin and doesn't have any big issues. But yeah, we are going to ride on board with this Renault here. Let me just get the comments up in the background. Dry, quali and race. Thank you, Xavier. So yeah, it's going to be full dries, which is not something you can always expect around Silverstone. But we are just going to get going. And one thing to note is here, this is the endurance straight, or this straight here is used for most other race series, I believe. The normal straight tends to be more used for Formula 1. Anyway, we're just heading through Cops now. Just going to make sure I've got my track map up so I actually don't mess up. Unfortunately, my track map doesn't want to load. But yeah, here we go. Magnus and Beckett's is where we've just come out of. That's always a very, very tight, heavy downforce section of track. One of the best in Formula 1, in my opinion. But of course, that is subject to everyone's opinion. Of course, they did take inspiration from it, I'll say, for the circuit of the Americas. However, one Xavier is going to head back into the pit, so we're going to ride on board with, I think it's a Ferrari who's going to be setting off first lap. Yes, no, it's not. Yeah, I think it might be Paulus. So we're going to ride on board with Paulus. Here he goes then. Through to turn 1 of Abbey, then the long left hand of Farm. It's flat out through here, down into the braking zone for Village. Bring it all the way around to the right, trying to maximise the exit out of the loop here through to Aintree, named after the track where the Grand National takes place on an annual basis, along the Wellington Straight, named after the Wellington bomber, of course, as this was a Wellington bomber station. Anyway, out of the Wellington Straight through Brooklands, named after the world-famous racetrack that used to be situated in the UK, through to Luffield now, before heading out of Luffield, flat out here, through Woodcote, past the National Straight, and heading towards Copse. Of course, a copse in English is just a smaller than a wood, it's just a few trees. Anyway, heading through to perhaps the most famous part of the track, Maggots here, breaking through the second section in Beckett's, bring it all the way around to the right on the exit of Chapel, then along the hangar straight. Of course, aircraft hangars, you understand the name. Can Nuffle make it 4 for 4 with podiums? You damaged your wing on the outlap, unlucky Xavier. 4 for 4 podiums. It is definitely possible for Nuffle. Anyway, through Stowe we go into Vale. Vale, the final chicane on the track, just bringing us through to the final turn of Club, which leads us back out onto the Grand Prix straight. That's a shame about damage. I'm not quite sure how you managed to damage it. But anyway, Nuffle Bessie so far, 127.4. That's on the soft tyres as well. So everyone's seeming to be staying away from the hard tyres. I'm not sure what the strategy is going to be looking like this evening, but we have got a few drivers beginning to set their lap times. Just having a look on the straight, it looks like a Williams there. There goes Axa letting, I think that might have been Maverick. I don't know. Maverick's just coming through here. He's set at 128.6. His teammate just set at 128.5, squeezing ahead of him. Paulus with a 128.1. Putting him in 5th place. We'll have a look through. TTG Storm on 128.7, putting him in 8th place as Reckless goes back into the pit lane. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go with United Bosnia. He's going to go out of Chapel now along the hangar straight towards Stowe, I think. Wait. Yes, it must be. I don't know. My map. Yeah, that is Stowe. How could I forget? Anyway, through to Vale now. It's quite a tight chicane. Similar levels of speed, I'd say, you carry through there as you do the Rue Village. But that's going to be provisional pole position for the Red Bull driver. That's a 127.4, just 9 thousandths of a second than Nuffle Bessie, who's so far had 3 podiums, and he's going back into the pits now. So we'll have a look. Here comes Axa heading up into Stowe now. Here is the Renault of 1, Xavier, who damaged his front wing on his outlap. Through Village he goes. And now out of Brooklands onto the Wellington Straight. Let's see what kind of lap time he can do here. He should be on for a decent lap right now. Interval P1, P2, P3. I'll have a quick look at that. It's just over a 1/10 of a second between them, so got quite a spread of lap time so far, but that's definitely going to come down as the qualifying session goes on. We'll get our fastest laps up for now. Here comes one Xavier. He's heading through Copse now towards Maggots. Side bit braking, you've just got to be able to get the nose in through there and be careful of running wide, because you can easily get penalties around this track. Anyway, heading through Beckett's, he's run a bit wide, and that's going to cost his exit out of Chapel onto the hangar straight. That is not the ideal line. I don't think that's gone as well for him as he would have liked. But he's going to head on through to Stowe now with 11.5 minutes left of the qualifying session. Still a fair way to go. The drivers definitely not setting their final lap times yet. They are just setting their bankers, making sure they have a lap time before they push and potentially make an mistake. As I say that, one Xavier does run wide out of the final chicane, but he's not had the greatest lap there with a 131.1. Here is the Haas of Axa just heading through the last couple of turns now, through Vale and out of Club onto the straight across the line. It's going to be a 128.405, putting Axa in 10th position. We've got Reckless, who's currently invalidated that lap. Invisible here, just heading through Luffield. And now Woodcote, I don't know, onto the National Straight and towards Copse now. Sabino, Williamson, Nuffle as the top 3. So Sabino hasn't set a lap time yet. Williamson is currently in 3rd, and Nuffle is in 2nd. So yeah, that could be quite interesting. We'll have to see how that all pans out. But anyway, up the hanger straight goes Invisible into Stowe now. Bring it all the way around to the right, trying not to run too wide on the exit of Stowe. Heading towards Vale now, getting it slowed down very quickly. About 75 to 100 meter braking zone. Anyway, out of club, you've got to be careful here because it's very easy to get a tank slapper on and head onto that barrier on the right hand side. But across the line though, Invisible is going to set a 1:27.946 on the medium tyres. He's the only driver so far to, I believe, have set a medium time. No, he's not. He was the only driver out on mediums at that point. Now we've got Reckless coming through here. Now Luffield using a bit of the curb. You've got to be careful on the exit of Luffield because it's a really long sweeping right-hander. And as you put the power down, you can really spin those rear tyres. So the Elon McCrew saying Reckless, Sabino and Nuffle. So Reckless and Sabino will need to get above a 1:27.4 with Bosnia currently sitting on pole position. So we'll see how they all set their lap times as we head out of Chapel now onto the hanger straight. And we're just going to keep an eye on the Reckless here because he's been predicted Nuffle pole, Williamson P2 and Sabino P3, Brent. Not a fanboy, just passionate. That's what they all say. Reckless heading through club now. Let's see whether he can get that pole position. Yes, he does. It's going to be a 1:27.1. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be a 1:27.2. Sabino taking pole position with a 1:27.1. And that squeezed Nuffle out of the top 3. Can he get it back? Can those McLarens get a 1-2 here for the start? That could be quite interesting. So currently, the Reckless and Sabino and Sabino, Reckless and Bosnia are currently the top 3. Let's see whether that changes in the coming laps as here comes Kieran through Village and towards yes, onto the Wellington straight. Brooklands, that was the one. No, Brooklands is up here. Oh dear, I've forgotten the names already. Yeah, Brooklands, quite an interesting turn. It's one of my favourite on the track, to be honest. Although not everyone has the same thing. But yeah, Aintree's the other one. 2 very historical racetracks here in Britain. So one thing I like about this track is the names of all the turns. Through Cops we go though. Let's see where Kieran goes. His teammate is currently has currently not set a lap yet. So there's all to play for here. Neither is he. They're currently sitting 19th and 20th. Sindro did go out on a installation lap, but I don't think he managed to set a lap time as Vapor Hayden takes pole position with a 1:27.125, just 1,000th of a second quicker than Sabino. That just goes to show how close that top group is. Literally 1,000th of a second separating pole. Let's see whether Sabino can strike back and reclaim that top spot. However, Kieran is currently heading past the line. That's going to be a 1:27.299, putting him in between the 2 Alfa Romeos of the sister team of Ferrari. Now, here is Craigie. He hasn't started his lap yet. No, he hasn't. He's just on the hanger straight now. Otapa has rejoined the session, and Civi has taken pole position with a 1:27.0. So I'm just going to have a look now. It looks like a Racing Point is heading towards the line. Here we go. It's TTG Storm taking 4th place with a 1:27.187. Having a look now. He has invalidated, but that's not the end of the world for him. I'm just having a look. I think it's Calvin. Yep. He's heading through Stowe now. He's got a McLaren ahead of him. That even might be Nuffle Bessie, yes. But he's going to go into the pits, as does Frosty Calvin. Red Bull is still out on track. That'll be Vapor Hayden. He's probably on an in lap. Behind him, we have the other Racing Point of Craigie. He's about to start his lap. Behind him, though, he's got the Mercedes of Otapa, who's also about to start, who's currently on an out lap, I believe. Yes, he is. And behind Otapa, we have Kieran, who's probably going to be heading in at the end of this. We have also got, I believe that might be Sabinio. No, it won't be. It was probably Civi heading back into the pits now. Yes, it is. I think there's a racing point heading through Chapel now. Yes, there is. This is TTG Storm, who sounds like he's got quite low fuel. So not too many drivers out on track. They're probably just going to be going in now and getting ready for the final salvo of lap times. This is Invisible, currently in 13th place. Going on to the softs for this lap, originally setting it on the mediums. Yeah, the gap in the top 4 could not be closer. In fact, I'll get the gap up now overall. It's not gone too well for Xavier so far, having broken his front wing on his outlap, as Invisible has actually invalidated his lap time. That's a bit of a shame for him. Here is Craigie, though, heading along the National Straight. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. That's nothing serious, I don't think. That was just at the Vale section of the track. Heading through Mangus and Beckett's now, though, goes the racing point of Craigie. Let's see what he can do. Sabinio, he is still 1,000th of a second behind Vapor Hayden and currently in the chat. Get back in your car. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where these bottom 3, who've yet to set lap times, set theirs, and where they come out. Through Luffield we go, though. Stowe even, and into Vale goes Craigie. Towards Club now, onto the straight, across the line. It's a very early line, but it's not gonna. It's going to be a 18th place for him, so he might have made a mistake earlier on in the lap. However, here comes Otapa through Club now, and across the line. It's going to be 17th place for him, just over half a second behind Jordan, and Craigie has gone off. That's the farm curve, so that's bad news for him. We have got Syndro, though. He's just gone past Craigie. Luckily, I think he might have avoided contact because he's still going on a hot lap. And he's heading along the Wellington Straight now into Brooklands. Through to Luffield. You can see trying to keep tight to the right-hand side here. Slightly compromising the entry, but it doesn't matter too much because of how long it is. The exit is roughly the same. It is a lot less dependent on your entrance into that turn. Anyway, through Cops we go. Just a slight lift on the throttle to avoid running wide, as Hayden has retired from the session, and Reckless sets the fast lap with a 1:26.5. But here comes the Ferrari now through Mangus and Beckett, out of Chapel onto the Hangar Straight. Let's see what he can do. Reckless has got pole position by exactly half a second. Vapor Hayden is out of their qualifying session. I think he might have just retired of his own accord. But he's currently in third. He might even drop down to a lower position on the grid. We'll have to wait and see, though. Here comes Syndro towards the line now, and it's going to be 17th place there, putting him 2 seconds behind the overall leader. He should be in Division 1. That is half a second. That was an absolutely blistering lap time from that driver, you have to admit, as Craigie is just heading through Maggots and Beckett's now onto Chapel. So he will be looking to try and set a nice lap time on the DRS zone. He hasn't got the DRS activated. As we'll have a look through to see who's on our hot lap, and it looks like Civi is. He's just gone down the inside of another driver. I don't know which driver that was. I think that was his teammate, actually, as other drivers do move out of the way. He's currently up 0.2 of a second, though, or down 0.2 of a second on his previous lap, so it's not the greatest first sector for him. Let's see if he can pull it back. Remember, he's exactly half a second behind Reckless. That's a lot of time to make up, especially in racing. As, who's that? One Xavier retiring from the session. He probably doesn't think he's going to be able to go faster than what he's already done, or maybe having issues, because we saw him have an issue earlier on in the session. Jordan retiring from the session. That's the Williams driver. With only 1 minute to go then, if the drivers aren't out on track, they're definitely not going to be able to get a lap time in. As along the Hangar Straight we go, and Civi slows down. Very interesting. Maybe just lining up. Look, he's got traffic in front of him, traffic building up behind him. I think they're all setting up for a final hot lap. But TTG Storm is not waiting around. He's heading through Stowe now. Unlucky, Xavier. And yeah, Hayden might have crashed then. But here comes Storm through Vale on to the main straight, which is very short, to be honest. Across the line, it's going to be second place. They're just 0.4 of a second behind Reckless. So you can just see how quick that McLaren driver is. And this is Sabino. He's just setting off on a lap. Whereas DJ Williamson's in Sector 2. He's up 0.2 of a second as he heads through Luffield now towards Woodcut on to the National Straight. Oh no, you retired in pits. Okay then. And McCrew, very impressed, of course, by Reckless, as I think we all are. I think he might have that pole position under lock and key. I don't think anyone can take that away from him now. That is just an absolutely blistering lap time, and he's probably feeling very safe up on that top spot. Here comes the not the racing point, the Alfa Romeo. I will put the lap times up now. Oh, there we go. You can just see how close these drivers are as DJ Williamson does go into the pits, and that is Frosty Calvin. He's off on the exit of Cops. That's quite a risky place to go off. Luckily, he's going to spin himself round, but that's going to bring a premature end to his session. And he's been disqualified, actually, for going the wrong way. This is Nuffle Bessie not going very far, so he's not going to be able to improve. So he won't be getting 4 out of 4. He won't be getting 4 out of 4 podiums. That's 3 out of 4 so far. So he's got 75% pole rate, sorry, I believe. But yeah, that's definitely slowed down. Now, unfortunately for Frosty, he's been disqualified for going the wrong way. And that's going to bring an end to his session. That's going to put him right at the back. Here is AXA then. And that brings an end to the qualifying session. And the fastest lap there being a 1:26.5. Very, very... just such a close qualifying session. Apart from Reckless, I don't know what, he definitely had cornflakes for breakfast. Because, or Weetabix. I don't know what he had. Maybe some solid fuel. Solid rocket fuel. Yeah, potentially. I mean, the game gets very annoyed when you try and spin the car around after going off, as I do get XP for an inexplicable reason. But the qualifying order, it's going to be Reckless on pole, followed by Invisible 17, 10, 15, TGG Storm 72, Original Civi, Vapor Hayden, Sabino, Paulus HO8, Mekir and DJ Williamson, United Bosnia, Nuffle Bessie, Philip and AXA, Out Maverick, Jordan JT, Syndro 493, Otapa 8, and 1 Xavier 2002, Craigie Ather 28, and Frosty Calvin rounding off the grid, having unfortunately been disqualified. And I don't think it was his fault personally. I just think the game doesn't like it very much when you make a mistake. And unfortunately that's going to mean he's going to be sorting at the back, and he's going to be quite frustrated about that. But you can see up ahead, we've got Kieran here. He's separated the 2 Alfa Romeos. Sabino into 6th place, just 1,000th of a second behind Vapor Hayden. But that was just such a blisteringly fast lap time from Reckless, and he could be well on course for a win this evening. So Reckless, Sabino, Nuffle, that's 1 out of 3 for McCrew. Sabino, Williamson, Nuffle, I think that's none out of the top 3 quali. Yeah, I don't think anyone got too close, to be honest, with the predictions. Yeah, interesting. Quite a surprising qualifying session, but now onto the race. Don't forget to leave your predictions for that as well. Of course, you can do it throughout the race as we go. We'll just see. But yeah, sunny day here in Silverstone, sorry. Up, I think it's in Nottinghamshire. I'm not entirely sure, as we have a error that hopefully won't persist. It shouldn't do. But yeah, we're just going to get straight on with the formation lap. 26 laps to go here for the British Grand Prix, round 4 of 7 for the championship this evening. That is a shame for Nuffle making a mistake, and yeah, only one person got anywhere near in the predictions with the reckless pole predictions, so got to give it to him. But yeah, very surprising qualifying session. You can see that half the grid separates these two McLarens, and even more separates the two Mercedes, actually. And I think an equal amount, or actually no, even more, separate the two racing points. Anyway, heading towards Maggots now goes the pack leader. Of course, there's going to be no real overtakes until roughly the point where we get to Village, because there's a slight braking zone at the start of the lap, but nothing too grand after that. Yeah, because you have Abby, that's a dab on the brakes, so hopefully you won't see too much contact through there. Then Farm Curve, which is it can be quite difficult to go side by side because you're using quite a lot of the grip of your tyres, so the cars aren't as stable as they usually would be. And then you've got heavy braking into Village and the loop, and the exit of the loop through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight is where we may see the main overtakes. Can I show the trees? I don't know if I can. I think you mean tyres. Yeah. P1 Reckless, P2 Sabinio, P3 Storm. Yeah, I'll get the tyres up quickly now. So everyone on softs, apart from Nuffle, Bessie, AXA, Jordan JT, and one Xavier, we'll get the position change up though as we get ready to start here in Silverstone for round 4 over the Intelligence League Sprint Championship. It's 5 red lights are out and away we go, out for very little time now, and it looks like a good launch for the McLaren of Reckless. He's going to be leading through turn 1 as we head through the farm curve now into Village. Down the inside goes TTG Storm on Invisible to try and take second place. Can he hold on to it as we head through the loop now towards Aintree? Back down the inside goes the Mercedes. They're side by side as behind them we've got the two Toro Rossos battling it out. We've got TTG Storm though, he's going to be leading Invisible as they head along the Wellington Straight. They're going to be nearly side by side, although he's had to back off. We've got the two Toro Rossos very close there, as well as through Brooklands we go. The two Alfa Romeos batting it out through Luffield, still side by side. I think Paulus might have yeah, he's dropped back behind DJ Williamson. DJ Williamson with a brilliant start, and Paulus dropping back 2 places as we head through Woodcott now. Just ahead, well, we have got Paulus trying to look for a way back past that Ferrari as we head towards Maggots now. We've got that Red Bull looking down the inside, nearly side by side. He's side by side with the McLaren of Nuffle. Bessie goes United Bosnia. Nuffle does squeeze past as we go through Beckett. Says yellow flags in sector 2. That's the Ferrari of Sindro. He's gone off on the, I think, through Maggots, but here we go, side by side. And Nuff will get it around the outside as he head into Stone now. He's going to switch it to the inside. No, he's not. In fact, he's side by side with All Maverick. All Maverick sending it down the inside as Nuffle Bessie runs wide. And he's going to stay in 12th position for now. In fact, he's down 1 position since the start of the race. And Philippe has had contact and he spins. He has spun at Vale. That is bad news for the Haas driver. And look at that. I think that might have been... that was Frosty running seriously wide through club as Sindre gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is not good news for him. And look at this. Down the inside goes Jordan JT through Village. And it looks like he might try and go for the switchback here on the exit of Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off though. No, he's just not quite close enough. We're going to head back up to the top now because we still have Savino. He's close behind Original City. He might go for a later apex. Through Luffield we go. I'm not quite sure. It looks like Civi's got a bit of a connection issue because he seems to be lagging ever so slightly. Yellow flags in sector 2. I don't think that's anything major. No, it isn't. But look how close these two drivers are. Civi runs wide as we head towards Maggots and Beckett's, and that is a driver, I think that's Craigie, who's had a big issue. And look at that, Sabino has got past Original Civi as we head through Beckett's now. Look how close these drivers are. The dirty air will not be helping through there. We're going to head down to DJ Williamson and Kieran. Kieran getting in the slipstream of that Alfa Romeo, but he's got to look behind him because Paulus is going to be trying to close up. Now, the two... they've the two Alfa Romeos actually swap positions, with Kieran staying in the same place. So he's still splitting them. However, he's splitting them the other way round as there's contact through Vale. Kieran managing to back off there. Reckless with a 1:31.0, setting the fastest lap of this Grand Prix so far. Paulus very, very close. And look at that behind him. United Bosnia having a little sniff of the inside line as we head through Farm Curve now towards Village. Down the inside goes the Red Bull on the Alfa Romeo. Can he hold on to it though? I don't think so. Just not able to carry as much speed. Heading through the loop towards Aintree now. And look at that. Nuffle Bessie's trying to get past through Aintree onto the Wellington straight. There's sight contact between the two drivers, and I think the McLaren might have just about pulled it off as there's a virtual safety car, and Nuffle Bessie just about got that position before the virtual safety car was brought out. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the cause of that was. Potentially for one Xavier, he may have had an incident somewhere around the track, but this does mean the cars are still very, very close together now. We've just got to wait for it to go green at any moment now. It shouldn't take too long. Already on lap 3 of 26, on our way to lap 4, and we've had an action-packed opening few laps. The virtual safety car will probably be going in any moment now, because here we go through Max and Beckett, and Nuffle Bessie has contact with the Alfa Romeo. He's just about managed to keep that from spinning, but he's had to lose a few positions while doing that because he had to go off track through Maggots. That is not good news, as up ahead the other McLaren has got someone on his tail. Yes, Reckless run wides through the exit of Stowe, and this could be TTG Storm's opportunity. I don't think he's quite close enough to pull off a move, but here we go through Club. He's definitely closed up. That gap was 1.5 seconds during the virtual safety car. Can he get that position though? He is not far behind. That is a big worry for the McLaren. He's going to be keeping an eye on those mirrors, looking behind him, just making sure that McLaren, that Racing Point, doesn't have a crack at that first position. Let's see whether Reckless can hold on to it though, as we head along the Wellington straight now. And another thing to add, the Wellington bomber, perhaps one of, if not the best British bomber of the Second World War, which the Battle of Britain will have been 70 years ago. Around this time actually, which is quite a strange thought, to be honest. No, 80 years ago even. Yeah, come a long way since then. This doesn't look anything like that's original Sibby. He's gone off, and that is through. That was on the exit of Cops. He may have run slightly wide. He just got a big tank slapper though, and that's going to cost him a position, and that has brought out the safety car. I don't quite know what happened to me there. I turned, yeah, I don't know, but that is a safety car. This could be the opportunity the soft runners need. We'll get the tyres up, because it's only 3 laps. They could, in theory, go on to hards and try and go to the end of the Grand Prix, because it's a long way to go. And look at this, United Bosnia is very close. In fact, they both go into the pits. In fact, all of these soft runners go into the pits. Let's see if Nuffle Bessie does. Yes, he does. Axel going into the pits, even the medium runners, so that's cost them. And Nuffle Bessie gets a 5-second time penalty. This has just been going from bad to worse for these drivers, as here comes Sindro now. And yeah, we've got a big old scuffle in the pit lane. Let's see who gets held up and who doesn't. And that's a Ferrari getting released into another driver, as Craigie has left the session. He must have been brought out. I'm not sure. I think it was Sibby who brought out the safety car. I don't know what happened to Craigie, to be honest. And it looks to me like there's a McLaren or something. A Racing Point, perhaps, stuck in the middle of the track. I'm just looking on the track map now. We'll head up to Reckless. He's still leading after the pit stops. TTG Storm going on to another set of softs. The only driver to do so. Has he... Oh, that would be the safety car I saw then. Has Storm made a mistake with his strategy? Soft R is very interesting. We know that the hards can probably go to the end of the race. Did he forget to change the tyre strategy? I don't quite know. That is not good news for him. Yeah, sorry about that. That's a big shame, Storm. Everyone else on the hards, that's going to have to cost you an extra pit stop. You could hope for another safety car. it is definitely a possibility, but yeah, that's a really big shame for you. 18 runners left in this Grand Prix. Reckless still leading. So now we know what tyres everyone is on. But yes, just following the safety car. We'll keep an eye out for that symbol that says safety car in this lap. Hopefully we don't have the issue we had at Spain. If we're lucky, we won't. But anyway, here we go around Britain. Already 5 laps in of 26. We're almost a fifth of the way through the Grand Prix. And it's been a very entertaining Grand Prix so far. But yes, that's a shame for Civi. I didn't really see what happened to him, what caused him to crash. All I saw was flicking through. He was just in the barrier. But that is definitely not what you want to be seeing when you're trying to race. But yes, Storm going back into the pits. Hopefully this time he does get the right tyres. We'll have to wait and see though. But let's just get the tyres up, and he's gone on to the mediums. Interesting strategy, cool. I'm not sure if he intended to go onto the mediums. But we'll just wait and see. I mean, the whole safety car queue is pretty much caught up at this point, so we shouldn't be waiting too long to get going again. In fact, it could happen at the end of this race. At the end of this lap. Hopefully it doesn't happen until the end of this race. That'd be not the most exciting Grand Prix to be. But anyway, here we go. Through Brooklands and towards Luffield. Let's just keep an eye out on that bottom left. Wait for the announcement that the safety car is coming in this lap. Yeah, definitely mediums for Storm. I don't know if that was intended, but it's a interesting strategy call. The only driver, everyone else is on hards. And we'll just await for further information on that, on what happened to Civi, because it would be really interesting to know. We'll just have to wait and see whether he does know, but maybe it was netcode, something like that. Here we go through Maggots and Beckett's out of Chapel. Engineered Insanity. Safety car in this lap. As I predicted, because I am a genius, the safety car will be coming in this lap. Here we go then. Reckless will be backing up the pack. Storm on those medium tyres. He's on the softer tyres than everyone else. Let's see whether they can really benefit him. The driver's trying to get that last minute warmth into their tyres. Just trying to get those brakes heated up for when the heavy braking starts into Village. Here we go. Just out of Stowe now towards Vale. The safety car restart is about to begin. We wait for that green flag as we cross the line to start the 7th lap of this Grand Prix. Reckless has gone. He has gone and he's left invisible behind. Let's have a look behind. AXA having a bit of a tussle with Paulus. He's got past. Can he get past United Bosnia as well? I'm not quite sure. He's really close through farm curve, but through farm curve as well. DJ Williamson, he's got someone right up his gearbox, and that's United Bosnia. He's had an issue. I think he dropped down a load of positions there. I don't quite know what happened to him, but look at this. Philippe is trying to get the switchback done on Alt Maverick, and he has pulled that off extremely successfully. The battle for third, though, as Sabinio goes down the inside into Brooklands on Invisible, and it looks like he might just have that position. Can he hold on to it through Luffield? And it looks like, yes, that is going to be second position for the Toro Rosso. But look at this, DJ Williamson now on Baper Hayden. This is for 4th place of the Grand Prix. Can he get it? Through Cox we go. He's going to be side by side as we head into Maggots, can he hold onto it? And Beckett said no, that's contact. Vapor Hayden goes the wrong way round. He's taken up Nuffle Bessie, and I think United Bosnia has been caught up in the crash as well. Absolute scenes there. Really, really bad news through Maggots and Beckett's. Nuffle Messi, this race just going from bad to worse for him. The championship leader, no less. That is not ideal, and we have got once more a safety car this Grand Prix. So the curb at Copse is a bit deadly then. But yeah, only making it about 1.5 laps out of that safety car. That is not good. But yeah, that was a big crash. And you can see how it's involved Philippe. No, Philippe had an issue earlier. I think Kieran and Sindro, as well as Bessie, might have got caught up in that contact between Williamson and Hayden. Yeah, so we've got to keep an eye out for the curb at Copse. Of course, when you're going flat out through there, the car can easily get unstable, lose a bit of traction, just upset the rear of that car. And through Copse, when you're going flat out on the tyres, it is not good. Now, Nuffle and Hayden both talking in the comments. I think that trying to go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's, such a high speed, tight area of the track where it's constantly changing direction, it's never a good idea, and I don't think that was ever going to end well. It's a big shame. But however, I don't think it was the greatest idea to have a go at that. I don't know, we'll have to leave that. We will have to leave that to the stewards. It is up to them to decide. I'll have a quick look at tyres now, because those drivers that have just pitted, it will be interesting to see which tyres they've gone onto. They have gone onto the mediums then. So therefore, those mediums are the tyre of choice. I'll just do something, wait. We're almost a third of the way through the Grand Prix. Can those mediums take it just over 2/3 of the way through this? Oh my goodness! And I'm going to have to switch off of that because I think that might violate the YouTube community guidelines. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. Hopefully that hasn't... Oh, that's front right end plate damage for DJ Williamson actually. So he's got front wing damage. I don't know if that's going to mean he's going to... He might have to pit to replace that, because the end plate missing is usually a sign of damage. I'll put the tyres back up if you want. But yeah, that is not good news. That is Maverick slowing down. Now, everyone's going very slowly as we head off on... Oh my goodness. Yes, we'll switch off of that immediately, because yeah. Oh my goodness. I think we must be having some kind of netcode error here. It's between AXA and DJ Williams. No, DJ Williamson's currently been driven by the AI. I think he might have disconnected actually. As yeah, this is very strange, and I think that might be that should surely be causing damage to one of the two drivers. This must be quite an intriguing thing to see from Otapa's perspective. But I reckon we'll probably be having the safety car in this lap. Hopefully we don't have another safety car in the next 16 laps or so. Well, that all depends actually on how the race pans out. Maybe we'll be begging for one at the end. Hopefully not though. I think we should, judging by what we saw in the opening laps of the Grand Prix, we should be in for quite an entertaining next few laps. I do apologise for that. Hopefully the stream doesn't get taken down. I mean, last week on Tuesday I was trying to commentate for my other league, and the stream kept getting removed for violating YouTube's community guidelines. So, and nothing happened there, so I think it definitely might get removed now. Safety car is coming in this lap though, so let's get ready to go racing once again. As we head up towards Stowe, you can see Reckless in the same position he was just 2 or 3 laps ago, backing up the pack, getting ready to restart here at Britain for round 4 of the Sprint Championship. 2/5 of the way through the race, I'd say. Slightly less, but a long way to go still. Here we go then, heading through onto the main straight, out of Club. AXA and Paulus. AXA getting past Paulus on the restart. A good start for the Haas driver. Getting straight past the Alfa Romeo, not waiting around at all. Just having a look, and look at this. I think that might be Philippe going down the inside of one Xavier. They're going to go side by side as we head through the loop now towards Aintree. They're still side by side as we head along the Wellington Straight. I think one Xavier, yeah, he's going to have to concede that position. Heading up to Paulus and AXA. Paulus still trying to get that position back as he doesn't even try to go around. He goes through. Very interesting racing going on between these two drivers. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. That must be some kind of netcode issue between both of them. Which is a bit of a shame because it's taking away from the quality of the racing. No doubt that would be very entertaining as that's a Red Bull of United Bosnia. He's touched Alt Maverick and that's them round out of the exit of Cops. There's front wing carbon fibre all over the track. That is a big, big crash and the virtual safety car has been brought out. Now, yes, you can see that happening as we went along the hangar straight as well in the background. Quite a peculiar sight as straight into the pit lane goes DJ Williamson, who did have front wing damage. We saw that earlier and he's going to have a 5-second penalty, but we go green again. Let's see what happens here. There's a lot of messages in the bottom left. I didn't have time to read any of them. But yeah, the virtual safety car has gone back in and we've got Paulus right up the gearbox of AXA as we head through to Village and there's a big amount of desync. Philippe getting a multiple penalty for multiple warnings. Heading through the loop now, we've got Frosty Calvin leading this pack here. He's got Jordan JT going straight. In fact, I think Frosty might have disconnected because yeah, Cops is killing everyone else. Or hopefully not Cops are, because that'd be a very different message. Especially in light of recent times. We have Kieran right behind Nuffle Bessie though. And look at that behind, we've got Bosnia and Maverick. I think Bosnia's actually jumped Maverick in the pit lane. I don't know how that's happened. Frosty Calvin has rejoined the session though. The Renault driver losing a lot of positions while he was away, which is not good news for him. We've got Sindro though. He's behind Hayden. Hayden going to the inside to try and just defend that line. Paulus and AXA still having their little intimate battle up at the front here. Maybe slightly too intimate. Here is the other Haas just behind Jordan JT. This could be quite an entertaining battle as we head along the hangar straight. Round the outside, up into Stowe. Medium tyres for the Haas driver. Then no, those hards on the Williams are just no match. Don't worry, I did know you meant Cops corner. DRS has been enabled again. I don't know why it was disabled. But we have got TTG... Oh, yeah, because of the actual safety car, wasn't it? Not too much on it. I think Storm might have just set faster stop or something. There's yellow flags in sector 2. DJ Williamson has retired from the session. And I think that is on the exit of Chapel, perhaps? I don't quite know. Looking for his car. Yeah, that's on the exit of Chapel. It looks like he might have just gone straight on as we are hit with yet another virtual safety car. The third... So far this Grand Prix, we've also had 2 full-blown safety cars. Come on, guys. Keep it on the track. And joking, but yeah, lots of virtual safety. Oh my goodness. Don't ask what happened to my voice there. It was a sound of confusion. I think that's what I'm going to say it was anyway. But yeah, we're almost halfway through the Grand Prix at this point. Still a decent amount to go. I'm interested to see whether those mediums can make it to the end. Especially those ones that have already got a fair amount of stuff on them. As the virtual safety car ends, we have got TTG Storm and Otapa 8. This could be quite interesting. Storm is in the barrier. He's gone straight off on the exit of Chapel. That is really, really bad news. He just had... I think he must have touched the curb or something. One thing I've noticed though is Sabino has taken the lead of the race off Reckless. I didn't even get to see that. As he head through Club now though, I think Reckless is going to try and get that position there. Yeah, don't text and drive. Because that can never end well. as we have Reckless right up the chuff of Sabino. We're going to have to stay with this battle for the lead. But yeah, that was not good news for Storm. And One Xavier has binned it at Cops. Yeah, Cops definitely taking out a lot of people at this point in time. Don't drink and drive. Yes, hopefully no one's drinking at this race as Reckless. He heads past down the inside into Brooklands, through to Luffield. Can he hold on to it? The Toro Rosso sending it back round the inside. Might try and go for the later apex. Can he get the traction down? No, he can't. Reckless has taken the lead of the race here, and he's going to hold on to it for now. Can he hold on to it till the end of the race? Justin Prinzett. Come on, Invisible. Invisible in third. He's not far behind second and first. It's all to play for. These top three, it could go either way, or any of the three ways between them. Heading through Maggots and Beckett's now. Along the straight, Reckless is leading this little battle here. One Xavier pissing, having had his incident at Cops. Into Stowe we go, and it's down the inside for the Toro Rosso. He just had the inside line. He didn't have enough speed on the exit. That's a very high speed turn, and he couldn't hold on to it. We're going to stay with them though, because he could, number 69, could try and make a move into Village. Obviously, if he's moving into the Village, he's probably going to have to call the removals company, because here he comes now through Farm Curve. Down the inside. No, he's not quite close enough to try and make that move work, as AXA gets a 3-second penalty. Do I have live championship standings? I don't think so. I can check the championship. I can check the championship standings for now. Can't remember where it is on the Discord right now. Just give me 2 seconds while I have a look for it. Is it in the actual division chat? I don't actually know. Are the live standings? Okay, thank you for the standings. Maverick gets a 3-second time penalty. Now, Reckless is still leading the race as there's yellow flags in Sector 2, and I think that might be Jordan JT. Yes, it is. Where has he gone off? I think that is Cops. Yes, it is. He's gone straight off at Cops, and he's got heavy front wing damage. He's going to have to get that replaced. For now, though, I'll just have a quick look at the comments. I see a yellow flag in Sector 1 as well, and I think that might be Philippe. I'm not quite sure. No, this is just a 4-way battle that we've snagged onto. And into the pits, I think, goes Nuffle, Bessie, and AXA. Have they both got damage? I'm not quite sure. Alright, cheers for the championship standings. The current leader is Nuffle Bessie. He's on 65 points. He's 7 points ahead of the the Toro Rosso of Sabino. So Sabino could take the lead of the championship here. There's only 7 points in it, and Nuffle's not even in the points-paying position, so he could take it by a fair amount actually right now. On 36 points, we have got the Mercedes of Invisible. Invisible might just be able to stay in third now. Currently, he's not going to be moving. Frosty Calvin is on 26 points. He could drop down because Kieran is on 22, just 4 points behind him. And Kieran is... Oh, no, he's not. In fact, Calvin's actually still ahead of Kieran. So Kieran's not going to be able to move up the order. In fact, he might even move down. But yes, Sabino is on course to take the championship lead. Philippe crashed into Nuffle. Okay, that explains it. Paulus H getting a 3-second time penalty there. Quite a lot of time penalties being given out so far, as we, well, 3/5 of the way through the Grand Prix now. Okay, yeah, a lot of crashes this afternoon. And, yeah, definitely Cops a real danger for these drivers. They're sending them off left, right and centre, as Otop is really wriggling, trying to get Philippe out of his slipstream. We are going to head up to Sabino though, who is still very close behind Reckless at the top here. That is a big shame for Nuffle. Nuffle's just having an absolutely awful race as Reckless takes the fastest laps so far. Invisible is beginning to drop back, but he's still clear of Paulus. And right now, if he stays in third, he's going to be securing third in the championship at this rate anyway. And of course, as I always say, it is a short championship. Every point matters during the championship. In fact, they're worth pretty much 3 times, because there's only 7 races. There's usually 21. There's less races to get points. There's a third less races to get points. Thus, the the points are worth 3 times as much, essentially. And Sabinho knows that, and he's going to be delighted. And he's really going to be pushing to take the lead of the championship, because that'll be an extra 7 points gap compared to the already... the gap that will be moved up to 11. He could get that gap up to 18 as Philippe and Otapa have a bit of a battle here. Philippe does get past, I think that was through Woodcott. But yes, very, very interesting. There's a big gap between AXA and Sindro, so you can definitely see the first half of the top half being separated from the bottom half. But yeah, what a fantastic race so far. It's been extremely interesting. We've only got 10 laps to go. And I'm just going to have a little bit of water because this has been absolutely non-stop action. And Reckless once again sets the fastest lap. On those hard tyres, Nuffle Bessie and John JT, I notice, have both gone onto the softs. Can you join this league? Well, that's not up to me. Ask Jav, though. He is probably lurking around here somewhere. You can ask him. There might be openings, I'm not sure. There's probably openings for reserves. There's yellow flags in Sector 2. I'm not entirely sure why that is, as Nuffle Bessie overtake. I think that might be United Bosnia. I'm not entirely sure, as we hit 69 comments now. But yeah, Reckless still holding on to the lead. Oh yeah, and Maku. Sorry, Maku, I didn't forget about you. I just know. Don't worry. Can't quantify that. As Nuffle Bessie sets the fastest lap so far. Remember, there is that extra point for the fastest lap, which I think is why Bessie has gone onto the soft tyres, because he's not really in a position to score high points. So getting that extra point could count for everything. Although he will be having to make an extra pit stop. He is he's not even. Sorry. You know how it is. But yes. Yellow flags in Sector 2 as well. I'm going to get the track map up here because I'd quite like to see what's causing all of these yellow flags. That is Maggots and Beckett's. It's gone clear now, though. We will just keep that up in the bottom right. Don't worry. But yeah, Nuffle Bessie, he's definitely going to have to be making another pit stop, and he's not that clear of AXA behind him, who can go to the end of the race on those current tyres. What can I say? What can I say? Anyway, yeah, but this battle for the top, Sabinho is keeping up the pressure. He was leading the race for a little bit earlier on. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to reclaim the lead of the race, though, because Reckless is really putting up a fight. As Storm has left the session, he was out of the race earlier, though, so that shouldn't have too big of an implication to the current outcome. Just 8 laps to go, though. And we've still got a fair amount of racing to get done. As it's a 3-second time penalty for somewhere. That reminds me, actually, I haven't really been keeping on top of the penalties just because there's been so many. It's so easy to extend the track limits here. And those time penalties could have a very, very big impact on the outcome of this race. As look how close Sabinho is through to Vale. Could we see a move? He does have a sniff of the inside line. He doesn't go full send, though. He's just calculating when he can best make that position. He is definitely struggling to get past Reckless, or maybe he's just calculating the best point at which to do so. Now, he's going to be able to he's going to want to make a overtake and make that overtake stick. So he doesn't want to rush it. He wants to be able to hold onto that top position once he takes it, if he takes it. So Reckless is trying to defend. However, Sabinho is staying roughly half a second behind the McLaren in the lead, so definitely not able to pull away just yet. We could see that change. I'm not entirely sure, though. But yeah, if you do want to join the league, as you're seeing in the comments now, then you can just message Intelligence Racing League on the Instagram or Twitter. But yeah, the gaps are beginning to spread out a bit across the track. And I think those mediums that some of the drivers have been running for quite a while, you can see they're 11 laps old for a couple of them, for Philippe and for Sindro, with with Hayden's on 10 laps. They might be able to make it to the end. I think from what we're seeing, they probably would be pitting any moment now if they wanted to go onto the softs, if they needed to go onto the softs for the end of the race. I don't think they're going to be needing to do so, though, because those hards still seem to be in good swing. Reckless was setting faster snaps left, right and centre just a few laps ago. However, his hards were only the same age as those mediums. But yeah, you're still managing to do it on the hards, although we did see just how sublimely quick Reckless was during the qualifying session. And now Sabino is beginning to drop back as Juan Xavier gets a 3-second time penalty. That probably won't affect things too much for him. Unfortunately, he's about a minute behind the rest of the pack. But we're going to head down to Calvin and Hayden, because I think that we might see a move here from Calvin. Or a tap on Philippe, actually. We'll keep an eye out on that battle at the top, see if that has any change. As there's yellow flags in Sector 2, nothing too big, it doesn't look like. However, you can see Otapa and Hayden still very close. Now, I think Nuffle must have to pit soon, as Juan Xavier does retire from the session, and that's at the farm curve. So, quite interesting place to retire. I'm not entirely sure what the cause of that is. He's not had the greatest race, though, so you can't really... You can understand why it just hasn't panned out. He crashed in qualifying, and he's just... it's been a bit of a hilly race for him. United Bosnia going into the pits now. But yeah, what will be interesting is to see if Nuffle and Jordan can stretch those softs until the end of the Grand Prix. However, we're going to head up to Otapa as we head into Stowe now. Still trying to get past. He's got the switch back on Philippe. Philippe just not having the traction on the exit of Stowe to hold on to that position. And that's going to be 5th place for the Mercedes so far. Paul is now in a Mercedes sandwich. Fantastic move there from Otapa, though. That is a big shame, Xavier. It's definitely been a long race around here. However, it's not like Spain, fortunately, which just didn't end. Yeah, just didn't end. I was going to say it didn't end too well, but yeah. Calvin and Philippe, both close behind the drivers in front of them. Yeah, I think they probably have. Probably run out of charge on the virtual safety car battery as well. But they needed to replace the tyres on the safety car because it's been driving around the track so much. And they had to go to the nearest car dealership. And then get haggled forever. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. We've got Frosty Calvin still behind Vapor Hayden. Hayden had that issue with when he went side by side with Nuffle through Maggots and Beckett's, which is the bottom of the track right now, and that didn't end too well. Hopefully we won't see a similar sort of thing, by which I mean hopefully we won't see the two drivers crash when it eventually reaches crunch time between the two of them. If Calvin can just catch up enough to try and make that move as we head along the hanger straight, though, this could be his opportunity. As we head into Stowe, he's going to have a look around the outside. He's dummied it. He's going to go down the inside. He's all the way on the grass, just not able to carry enough speed through there. And Vapor Hayden's about to hold on to that. Of course, that turn there is a lot more about speed that you can carry through rather than the... it's more about the speed you can carry through it rather than the exit of it. It's not like a slower speed turn. In that turn, momentum is a lot more important. And that's why Vapor Hayden was able to hold on to it. And that's one of the difficulties that they've been taking through. So even though it is on the end of a long DRS straight, the DRS straight isn't quite long enough to try and get the move done beforehand. So they've got to have a crack into Stowe. But here we go along the Wellington straight out of Brooklands. Frosty Calvin there taking 7th position. Just an excellent exit out of the loop. And Brooklands, and he's got it way before he even arrived at Brooklands there. Fantastic move from the Renault driver. Now we've got Philippe. He's very close behind Otapa as they just head out of Cops now towards Maggots and followed by Beckett. Can Philippe try and get this position Gotta be careful about track limits there, using as much of the curve as possible though. And it just seems that Philippe drops back from Otapa there. Maybe he's running slightly higher wings, I'm not sure. There's yellow flags in Sector 2. That is United Bosnia. He's out of the Grand Prix. And that was the exit of Cops, so that's another car the Cops have claimed. Which is a bit of a shame. We've only got 14 drivers left out of an original starting number of 20. And I noticed that Bosnia had just switched onto softs, maybe to try and go for the fastest lap. But yeah, that's a big shame for him. And is that the other Red Bull? Yes, it is. No, no, it's not. His car's just still there. I think. No. So no, he went off in maggots, not Cops. It was maggots where he went off, and that's why there was a yellow flags through there. Now then, we're just going to have a look around. I think this is still the closest gap on the track so far. United Bosnia does leave the session, and that's the Ferrari of Sindro. He's gone straight off at Farm Curve. That is really bad news for him. He gets overtaken by his teammate there, and also by AXA. So yeah, the drivers are getting to make mistakes now. This Grand Prix has gone on for a long time. And don't forget to leave your comments down below about for the podium interviews. If there's any big questions you want to ask the top three, do let me know. Invisible could try and go for a second place here. Actually, Sabino is going to be defending fiercely from that. I can tell you that much though, because he's going to be wanting as many points as possible to try and increase the gap to Nuffle. If he manages to score decent points, he's going to want to score as many as possible just to increase that gap to Nuffle on the championship standings. Just managed to get some water in my eye. I don't quite know how I managed to pull that off. But yeah, Philippe close behind Otapa as they head out of Village and Aintree along the straight. I just had a mental lapse there for a second. I don't quite know what the cause of that was. Nuffle Bessie overtaking Vapor Hayden. Hayden going into their pits then, onto the softs. He might try and go for the fastest lap as well, you know. Nuffle's really stretching those softs. He's got to get them another couple of laps. So those mediums definitely could have made it to the end had Storm not crashed, I think. Even though he pitted onto mediums in the safety car, I think he might have been able to stretch them out to the end. Nuffle driver of the day. Yeah, punted a few times and still 8th. I have to say though, Reckless has just dominated. He's done a fantastic job. I'm going to have a quick look at something. Position change. Otapa and Calvin though. Remember, Calvin got disqualified after qualifying. He's up 13 places. Lost to 7th. Not too bad. Otapa has gone up 12 places though. That's quite the feat. He will have qualified in 17th place, not 20th like Calvin did. It's not a bad job from him though, you have to admit. So, and Savinio, he's gone up 4 places to get himself onto the podium. It's going to be a tough call for driver of the day, in my opinion. But we can, of course, ask Reckless about Nuffle, because I do believe that Nuffle will have been... It's likely that he will have been in the same party, as we are now on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Yeah, but the chances are that Nuffle was in a party with Reckless, as they are teammates, so we'll see if that has anything to offer. As we have Invisible now just behind Savinio, so Invisible might try and pile on the pressure this final lap and get past that Toro Rosso. This could be quite interesting. As through Stowe they go. We're about to head on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. Reckless leads. Will Savinio get 7th, or will that go to Invisible? It's just you and Nuffle. Alright then. Well then. I don't think Nuffle will have been too pleased. Now I've just noticed there might be a slight bias then for driver of the day, Brent. I'll see what's going on here. I don't know. We will... It's going to be hard to pick a driver of the day, in my opinion. Everyone's done Well, there's been quite a few potential candidates. Invisible doing exactly the same thing he did in Germany. Well, let's see whether he can get into second. As we head through Brooklands now towards Luffield. Reckless is now 4 seconds clear of that. Just drives and pops up at the end. Can he pop up at the end of this Grand Prix? We'll wait and see. We could try and see. We could see a move here. Maybe into Stowe, because that would be fantastic. I'm not quite sure. We've still got a little bit of a track in between that and now as Vapor Hayden sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Which will be an extra point for the Red Bull driver, giving him the same amount of points as Kieran because of that extra point from fastest lap. Anyway, heading along the straight now though, let's ride on board with Invisible. He is in the Mercedes behind Sabinho. He's just not quite close enough to make a move through Stowe as we head in to Vale. I don't think he's going to be able to get that position, but this is your race winner, Reckless, followed by Sabinho and Invisible. Will there be penalties to play? I'm not quite sure. Paulus in the Alfa Romeo taking 4th position. Across the line he goes. Otapa with Philippe not too far behind is going to take 5th. Now Paulus did get a time penalty there for an unserved penalty actually. And across the line he goes. Otapa and Philippe, followed by Frosty Calvin. He's made up, I think, 13 positions since the start of the race. Then Nuffle Bessie, who's had a very tumultuous Grand Prix, is going to be heading up into Stowe now. But looking behind, we've got Kieran and Vapor Hayden. Hayden could try and make a move here on the last lap. I'm not quite sure. He's run slightly wide. Unfortunate there for Savino with the DRS failure. That probably cost him all that time towards the end of the Grand Prix. But here comes Nuffle Bessie to take home 8th place this evening as he goes into the Mario, or this afternoon rather. Then Vapor Hayden actually overtakes Kieran due to penalties. And AXA is going to come out in 11th place. Alt Maverick is in 12th currently. The two Williams not having the greatest race. At least they're both going to make it to the line though. 12th place, and across the line he goes. Jordan JT following through Club now. And this is the last driver. As there's, that is Sindro, who I think was a reserve this evening, or new to the league, one of the two. But yeah, that's a big shame for you, Sabino. That would explain why you dropped back towards the end. And I'd say DRS is one of the most important things around this track. But Reckless taking pole and taking the win. He didn't get the fastest lap, so he didn't quite get the Grand Slam. But he's done a fantastic job in that McLaren. Now, don't forget to leave your questions for those top 3 in the comments. No comment. Yeah, so that is a shame. A lot of incidents during that race, so the stewards are going to have a fun old job after it. But the finishing order is going to be Reckless Sabino, Invisible 17, 10, 15, Paulus H08, Otapa 8, and Philip N, Frosty Calvin, Nuffle Bessie, Vapor Hayden, Mayor Kieran, AXA, Alt Maverick, Jordan JT, and Sindro. The DNS were United Bosnia 1 Xavier 2002, TTG Storm 72, DJ Williamson, Original Civvy, and Craig Ather 28 was the last DNF. So let's quickly invite these drivers to the party. We'll invite Reckless first. Hopefully he's got a microphone. I can't remember who doesn't, but we'll just invite him now. So don't forget to allow me. Yeah, interviews. This should be quite interesting. How to change a name to Vettel. I don't blame it. I can understand where you're coming from. Now I'm just going to try and invite the top 3. So Reckless, Sabino, and Invisible in that order. I've invited Reckless now. Sabino, view profile. And then Invisible will be the last one to invite to the party. So yeah, don't forget, if you've got questions, do leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to ask them if and when these drivers join the party. Hi, wait 2 seconds, and we can get on with the thing. All right then. So we'll start with you, Reckless. How that qualifying lap was blistering. How'd you pull that off?
I've spent a lot of hours in TT, I guess. Learned the track basically, and I actually didn't know I was going to do that lap. I was expecting a 27.0, but I don't know where that came from, to be honest.
Yeah, you got a lot more than you bargained for. And then onto the race. How do you feel about it?
It was a straightforward race for me, I guess. Just pole position. Sabino overtook me, but I knew I had the DRS, so it was just a calm race for me.
Right, speaking about DRS, Sabino.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what happened there then?
Yeah, it was at the moment when I was in front of Reckless, and right at the time he overtook me. Jeff came on the radio saying we have a DRS failure, and I was like, oh shit mate, you have got to be kidding me. And then the DRS was stuck open, so it wasn't even closed. And going through cops, almost lost the car like 3 or 4 times, but I managed to keep it in, so keep it on track.
Stuck open, so that must have been pretty scary, definitely.
Yeah, maggots and pickets. I was like sliding all over the place, and then I lost touch with Reckless, who was really fast. GG again. And in the end I still had to defend against Invisible, who was gaining quite rapidly at the end. So tough race, but managed to bring it home in P2.
Well done. And Invisible, onto you. How did you feel about the race?
Yeah, exactly. Very consistent, fast pace.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a very entertaining race, and congrats guys on your podiums and your win, Reckless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh wait, Invisible, I don't think you were showing your mic. I don't think you had your mic on allowed to be shared, so I don't think anyone could hear you. Okay then, no, don't worry. Alright then, thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Grand Prix, because I certainly did. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.